but welcome everybody. It's Palantalk. We're going to be talking about the rise of techno-fascism and the threat it poses to our democracy, because that's what it is. So it's a threat to our democracy um, because it's anti-constitutional. So for all of you joining us who are new, I like the word anti-constitutional. Welcome everybody. Welcome as people start coming in. I'm just waiting on Shane to show up as well. Welcome, D-Lynn. It's good to have you with us. Friends, Sonny, I saw you come in. Susan, um, couple Susans, Miranda, it's good to see you, have you with us. But today is going to be Palantalk. So let's talk about Palantalk, which and what it is and why we want to talk about them. Because Palantir is an issue. Yeah, as you say, D-Lynn, we're there. Hey, Susan, welcome. Hey, Ellie, I saw you come in the chat too. It's good to have you with us. And so before we get any further, we got to talk with this weekend. I want to go over real quick what happened. For those of you who did join us, thank you. Myself, Frederick Pogue, and Lawrence Winterman, co-founders of the Banner and Backbone Network, launched this weekend. We did a 24-hour demand the release of the Epstein file release-a-thon, and we had some incredible hosts and guests with us. And we got really lucky to have our friend and now contributor to the network as well, Ellie Leonard, join us during that time. And if you haven't subscribed to Ellie, you should. She's fantastic. You can just click on her name in the chat if you see her. And it should pop up to allow you to subscribe straight from the chat, I believe, or at least follow, and help her get over 10,000 if she's not already there. Because we want to make sure she gets to 10,000 on her birthday. Happy birthday, Ellie. Because that would be a huge, amazing birthday present. So I'm going to drop Ellie's link in the chat while we're getting going. So we launched Banner and Backbone this network this weekend, and why that's important and how that ties into Palantir is we talked about them. We talked about Palantir over the weekend with Shane when he does or is able to arrive, and if not, I'll do this on my own. And that's okay because we do things on the fly and we talk about things. So here's Ellie's link for anyone who wants to join her. And I'll drop the Banner and Backbone as well while we're going. But for anyone who wants to join, for everyone who's here, where we tied into Palantir is we talked with Shane about tech and tech fascism, and the use of Palantir as an internal threat tool that I consider would be it's a predictive profiling system. And Shane and I have talked about this, is so Palantir, and this is the biggest threat we need to talk about because we are living under an authoritarian government who wants to strip away our rights, who is anti-constitutional, which means they're fully against the idea of the Constitution, what it means, where it comes from, and how it should be used, and they want to blow it away. It's in their way. So they are anti-constitutional, not unconstitutional, because unconstitutional implies that they care that the Constitution would still exist. They're anti because they don't want it. It's in their way. It's an obstacle to fascism. It's an obstacle to tech oligarchies and little robber baron run tech community. And it's the surveillance state that we're now having to deal with. So let's talk about it because the surveillance state is something that's super dangerous and super important. Is we will be facing a increase in internal policing that we've never seen before. So when we talked with Shane, and Shane and I have previously talked about this, is Palantir has partnered with DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. They got a very, very lucrative contract from DHS to take their external software and external policing systems and turn them inwards, and turn it into a police state. And they've been given basically carte blanche to do so. Our government is actively working with them using their tech as well as others, places like Flock Security, who make security cameras that do the license plate scanning, and are now being used and will be used to identify movement for for trans folks or women who are trying to get abortions or things like that. They're already using technology like that. They already have used technology like that um, to try and get at abortions and people who are going to get abortions and where they're at. Um, and so we live and we have to acknowledge that we live in a police state, where, oh, look at that little check mark by my name. That's pretty. Um, by the way, everyone, thank you. Everyone who's subscribed and become a paid subscriber to me, and the Banner and Backbone Network. I am now officially on the bestsellers list, which is super cool. So I got my check mark. And I appreciate all of you for becoming paid subscribers, all of you for becoming free subscribers, everyone who shares and comes into the lives, participates in our chat. And I want to get to some of the points in the chat. Like Miranda made a good point, and I want to talk about that. Welcome everyone as you keep coming in. Is going back to the police state. Is Palantir and DHS have a full partnership with each other to create an internalized police state, and other groups or companies like Flock Security are being used for license plate monitoring and movement monitoring, as well as city and traffic monitoring just inside our cities. Flock Security makes and uses security cameras that are very advanced. They can identify with predictive analytics. Tie that in with Palantir, who has unlimited access basically to our internal data, and is going to use that in conjunction with their already well put together and well organized structure of person surveillance, person by person surveillance. And I'll get into more here in a moment what Palantir really is. And we've never really dug super, super deep into Palantir or some of the people that work there. And I think it's really important that we do, because Palantir has changed their branding, and they have changed what they look like from an outside, and it's really dangerous. So I'm on Palantir's website right now, and Palantir, up until this past year, up until very, very recently, marketed themselves only as a military tech company. And they marketed themselves really as just military tech. That's what they were. They're a mission-driven tech company for military usage for things like counterintelligence or active human intelligence surveillance and identification. I've used their systems before. I was in the Army. I was in the intelligence field doing human intel work. You work with Palantir systems. If you work anywhere in the military at this point, you're working with a Palantir system, basically. Palantir now has rebranded themselves as an AI company, an AI-powered automation for every decision. Let that sink in. Let their brand sink in what they are considering themselves. They are an AI-powered automation company for every decision. They use a cluster they can use the cluster of surveillance computers and networks They're on oil rigs, they're in production factories, they're in farms, they're in agricultural centers, they're in businesses. They've embedded themselves in an AI technology that is destructive and is Skynet. I think the easiest comparison that we have to a movie or to science fiction, because I like using science fiction, it's a great parallel at this point for science fact. That's where a lot of people get their ideas from. If you don't know, like science fiction is the basis for a lot of ideas for technology because we went, oh, we think we can make that happen. So let's write about it. And then some scientist was like, oh, I read about that as a kid and now let me make that happen. Palantir is embedding itself into everything through AI. Windmills, I'm watching their thing go round and round. It's businesses, it's windmills, it's the boardroom, it's your classroom, it's the military, it's everything. It's sciences and laboratories, it's genetics, it's hospitals. Flock Security runs security cameras at hospitals and has used them to identify undocumented or illegal people. They're using this technology inside the US. Palantir has a system called Project Gotham. Project Gotham is an internal security system for predictive profiling that is used by police forces. It's been tested in a couple countries to include the US and Great Britain. Palantir is not a US problem. It's a global problem. It's all around the globe and it's scary as fuck what Palantir is. It's scary as fuck what Palantir is because Palantir is a global system used in governments around the world and it collects all of that data into centralized databases that are used, hey Lisa, for AI, for AI decision making. So we have to talk about the AI and we're going to talk really deep into Palantir. I'm not sure if Shane's going to make it today, which is totally fine. I'm happy to talk pretty much for an hour about this because holy hell, this is awful. So Miranda earlier in the chat, the poet Miranda, friend of the show and a guest I've had on my show, the Sick of This show for a poem, Meet the Poet Day. That's my main thing is I do political social poetry. And Miranda and I got to talk about it. So she had a great statement is the surveillance state is a clear violation of unreasonable search and seizure, but that document offends them. Exactly. And what document is that? Constitution. The Constitution offends these people. Hey, Morgan. Um, Hey, Frank, I see you too in there. Golden Mean, Pat, Bean Pan, everyone who's in with me. Thank you all for joining. Kimmy, hey, how's it going? Um, the the systems that are getting put into place right now are going to monitor and surveil, and that's what they're used for. I'm not going to sugarcoat what I'm talking about. I'm not going to lie in this conversation because it's a scary fucking conversation. Is Palantir is a scary, scary system. Flock camera systems are a scary, scary system. They are already in use in this country. Project Gotham, which I just started talking about, is an internal surveillance police state system. It is used to accurately, quickly, and very, very, very precisely target an individual person. Each person in America at this point is now going to basically have a Palantir-driven AI profile. Project Gotham is really scary. Yes, Cheryl. And it sounds as scary as it is because it's named after Gotham City for a reason. The folks at Palantir knew what they were doing. Palantir, if we'll go back a little bit, we'll give a little bit of the lore, is Tolkien lore. The Palantir is the seeing stones that are used to communicate across far distances. Yeah, Gotham by Palantir. Um, it's really Skynet by Palantir. They just haven't changed their name yet. Um, um, and the Palantirs um, are incredibly powerful pieces of magic, but they're also they're corruptible. We'll get there. We'll talk about things like that. The Palantir are really corruptible. They can be corrupted by other very powerful magic sources. And they were corrupted by very powerful magic sources, and they provide visions of the future, of the past, of things going on right now, but they don't provide them in a clear way. They provide them mismatched and out of order, and people use them in the Lord of the Rings world and Tolkien's world to predict things, to predict events, to target people where they need to go and what they need to do. They name their company really well because they're really good at that. They're a profiling company and they're really, really good at predictive profiling. Um, and so Project Gotham is the internal police system that they use. That was tested in Great Britain and the US. It actually there were some lawsuits against it because of human rights violations for unlawful practices in law enforcement and um, also bad law enforcement practices. Like they were very, very much profiling throughout it. It's very apparent that the system is very good at profiling, and it just makes a profile things like, are you Hispanic? Do you live in this type of neighborhood? Do you work at this type of job? Well, you may be a criminal. And that's what it's going to say. It's going to do like Minority Report might be a good sci-fi crossover too, where they predict crime before it happens and you don't even have to commit the crime anymore. You just get arrested, which sounds a lot like 1984 and Big Brother and shit like that, because that's what it is. Um, and so they're using this technology internally now. They're building out the system, and they've already built out the system because it's in use. They're expanding the system right now. They're expanding the system very, very, very rapidly, and very, very, very quietly. They're just placing cameras in. They've already got things in place for adding them new cameras. They've already got contracts. ICE has an unlimited budget the size larger than the U.S. Marines. The ICE internal Gestapo security force is the largest police force in the world, larger than the FBI, the CIA, the DIA combined by a large, large measure. That's what they want to do. They want to they want to profile people. They want to take all of the disgusting individual, or in their mind, disgusting individuals that are others like us, and take us off the streets, ban homelessness. Flock has been used in DC for the homelessness stuff, and is in use in Virginia, and other places. Melissa Corrigan talks about it a lot, and there's a lawsuit going around. There's a lawsuit out about it because of illegal collection of data and information used for policing. And so the question by Golden earlier was, how do we stop Thiel and the PayPal mafia? How do we stop Peter Thiel? How do we stop Elon Musk, the tech bro oligarchy, robber barons that want to set up tech fascist states? They want to break the U.S. down, and basically, let's think of them as um, the districts from oh, I can't remember the name of the movie or the books. But think of them as districts. Think of them as little kingdoms. That's what they want. They want tech kingdoms. So we have two things. Yeah, stop dance is a very big statement. We'll go back to that. Is they want to set up the tech kingdoms through these little fascist oligarchies and their AI driven tech. So how do you push back on that? Stain talks about it, and has talked about it a lot. And I talked about it. It is a new Gilded Age. And we all know what happened at the end of the last one. Um, is that you can minimize your metadata and maximize your impact in the world around you right now while there's tech. We cannot stop the tech from coming. It's already here. We cannot stop the tech from being used in the way that it is being used. It is unrealistic, and it would be a lie if I told you that we could stop it from coming. It's here. It's already here. They're building an apartheid state in the US. Lawrence Winterman and I talked about it with Kasim Rashid just a little while ago this morning, is they are building an apartheid state in the US, and they're using companies like Flock Security, AI, Palantir, and things like that for predictive profiling and policing to make an apartheid state in the US. So what can you do? You can minimize your metadata and maximize your impact. So what do I mean by minimize your metadata and maximize your impact? Minimize your metadata is minimize your external footprint from your home in the world around you without changing your habits. That means don't go hide. Don't go sit in your house and hide. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm sorry. It's okay to be afraid, but don't let it paralyze you. Don't let fear paralyze you. You need to go out of your home and continue what you're doing. Wear a mask. Wear one. If you have a mask that is fairly mute in colors, very neutral, wear those. Wear things that are close in color to white or black, um, and blend in with the crowd, basically. Hey, Kimmy, how can we try not to engage with it and minimize engagement? It's not minimizing engagement, it's minimizing your metadata. We're maximizing our engagement. Um, is you continue to do your habits, but you wear a mask. If you have hats, you wear pretty standard, just basic hats. If you go out, wear sunglasses. If you have prescription glasses, wear those. If you have glasses that are color changing and tinting, wear those. Um, Wear masks if it's appropriate, like because they can do a full facial profile, but wear masks when it's appropriate. Like, if you're sick in any way, just put a mask on. Wear a mask when you go out because it helps minimize their ability to identify a full face. So, why we're doing this? Those are great questions. Why dark shades? Those are great questions. Thank you for asking why questions, because that's really important in this conversation. We need to understand the why. That's my big thing about a lot of things is I like why. Why do we do it? I hate when my son asks me it because it's the same question I ask all the time. And I know it's super annoying to people, especially when you're a kid and you want to just know everything. But minimizing metadata means put a mask on if you're sick. Put a mask on if you're with someone who is sick that's going out. Wear a hat that's fairly neutral. Why did I say dark colors and neutral? Because dark colors blend in. Blues, blacks, browns, grays, greens, those blend in. Those blend in with other people around you. They make you more of a gray man. They make you less noticeable. It's about making yourself less, I hate to say it, because it's there's two ways to do this. There's two options we can do. We can blend in, which is a safe and valid and good option. That's what I've just been talking about, is blending in. It is a very, very good option. It is one of my best pieces of advice is blend in. Don't make yourself quite as noticeable. Yeah, you can wear gloves. Gloves also make you stick out a lot um, right now. So be very careful about wearing gloves too. because you don't want to. The thing is, you're not trying to make yourself look suspicious. You're not trying to make yourself look like an ICE agent. You're not trying to make yourself look out of sorts or out of normal. You want to make yourself just look comfortable and standard and confident. But you don't want to make yourself as obviously open as you are. It's sort of like going back in the closet a little bit in ways. And I hate saying that because I just opened up not too long about, hey, Robert, I just opened up not too long ago about being bi and being open about that. Minimize your metadata when you go out. That's what I'm saying. When you go out, unless you're going somewhere that you are safe. If you're going somewhere safe, make sure that when you get there, you are as open and vibrant and as you can possibly be. Do not let them take yourself, your identity away. When you get to safe places, be yourself. Be open, be vibrant, be human, be so empathetic that just be yourself. Just be the best self you can. But when you go places that are very, very public, it's often best, especially in fascist regimes, to not stand out quite so much. The other side of that coin. So this is point number 2 on that. So point number 1 is blend in until you're in your safe zone or safe place or with your safe people. And when you're with them, you be yourself as much as you can and you be who you are and you love everybody you can and all of the people around you. And you make sure you tell your friends and family you fucking love them all the time. Tell them. Make sure it is the last thing they hear every day. Make sure it's the first thing they hear every morning from you. It's as simple as just saying, hey, I love you. Hey, I'm glad you woke up with me this morning. Love you. Or when your kids wake up, hey, you're going to have a fucking great day. I love it. Let's go win. Um, and yeah, I know, D. Ellen or D. Lynn, I see that, your comment about your mom. Um, and that is so sad. Like, how sad is that she doesn't want to be here any longer because she's 87. Like, she doesn't want to be here. Why? Like, that is no, don't be sorry. Just sign up free. Everything I do is in front of a paywall or behind. I don't do paywalls. Um, I can definitely do that. I'll take the transcript of this, Golden, and write it up into something that's useful and helpful for people, maybe like a checklist or a tip list on things you can do to minimize your metadata and maximize your impact. So we talked about minimizing your metadata. That's part 1, which is when you go out into very, very public places and you are needing to be very, very exposed, often it is best to blend in a little in public. Don't hide yourself completely. Don't make yourself hidden. If you're a man who loves to wear um, nail polish, wear nail polish. If you're a man who's considered wearing nail polish, I used to, I'm going to go back to it because it's a subtle and simple thing that you can tell people that they're safe, that you are safe. You're not going to see a MAGA man walking around with nail polish on. You're fucking not. I'm sorry, they're not going to do it. But you're going to see me walking around with nail polish on. And I'm going to let people know I'm safe to be around. And I know Kimmy knows that. And I've met Kimmy and she's fucking awesome. But don't wear identifying things like badges. Do not badge yourself. Do not go into that labeling society. As we joke around, the merit badges of fascism. Don't give yourself the merit badges of fascism. If you're Jewish, don't put the Star of David on your fucking shirt. Do something that you can cover it up with. I have a tattoo on my arm. I can cover it up, but I don't feel unsafe. So just like, don't merit badge yourself up on your shirts and stuff. Like, Don't take the symbology of World War II and use it as a tool to fight back, because that's just fascism allowing you to like profile yourself. You make it easier for them when they do that because they're here. Like, this was all about being safe. Yep, we're going to get to that. So minimize your metadata is minimize your impact on the outside. Wear a mask if you're sick, wear glasses, sunglasses pretty much all the time outside, unless it is really dark, then put a hat on. Don't wear glasses or a mask if you want to. Like, put something on and walk, just keep your head slightly down a little bit and just walk normal. Um, I am too. I'm very worried for my gay friends. I'm very worried for my uh, all of my LGBTQ plus friends, my family. I have other LGBTQ plus family members. I'm scared for anybody who registered their kid on with autism and got them diagnosed. I'm scared for everyone, including myself, with kids and adults who have ADHD. I'm scared because they're making lists. And I'm scared that they are going to go after Obergefell, which they're already doing, because Kim Davis, that bigot, is back in the news saying that she's just going to ask the Supreme Court to, um, you know, take away the right to marriage, or allow people not to marry gay folks, and just let it go back to the states. Let it go back to the states, so that the states that don't want gays to be able to marry, and lesbians and LGBTQ members and anyone who's not straight and white, you can't marry anymore. The next step after that is um, removing interracial marriage. The fascists on the Supreme Court, like Clarence Thomas, forget that fascism is a bubble that always goes to one. And it will shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink until it's all about one, because it's only about the cult of personality. That's what fascism is, especially right now. That's what Trump's populist fascism is. And so if you have done all of the things that you were supposed to do and need to continue to do to make sure your kids are safe, make sure your kids are healthy and learning because they needed help with ADHD or with autism or with any other disability. I have ADHD. It's a good thing to get them diagnosed. It is a good thing to continue your normal habits. Do not let them make you live in fear and stay in place, because you'll get stuck. You won't do anything. You won't be able to do anything if you're just stuck. And I live in Arkansas, and it's a red place, and it's getting worse on issues very quickly. Our child labor laws are getting less restrictive. Our schooling system is getting worse. Our taxes are being used in ways that are inappropriate. But we have a local Democratic Party that's working really hard to push back, and we gained a seat this past election in 2025 for the state. And we're closer to breaking the state's supermajority, the red supermajority. And people are running for state offices, and we need to encourage people to run for state office. So how do you maximize your impact? Minimize your metadata. We'll cover it real quick. Minimize your metadata. Wear more plain clothing, just general plain, until you get to where you're going and you're safe, and then be yourself. And then be all of you that you can be, and let even more out because you had to do a little bit of restrictive. After that, your impact. How do you make impact? You get cash out instead of using your debit card or credit card. If you have the cash to do it, go get cash out. Use your cash um, and spend that money as you would normally. But say you're filling up on gas, you fill it up on cash. You use cash to do it. If you're going to go into the gas station, let's say you have cash, but you don't have enough to fill up on a tank, but you want something to eat or drink, use your credit card like you would normally do at a gas station, and then go inside and pay for your food in cash, or your drink in cash, so that they don't know that you got something else, that they see that you might have gotten in there, but they don't know that you got something else, or what you got, or how much it was, because you're using cash. The next step is, if you can, like I said, keep using cash. Use cash for as much as you can. Or use one card that you can, and change your habits a little bit. Go to different gas stations if they're on the way home. Don't always go to the same one, so you can't be predicted at which gas station you're going to fill up on gas. Um, if you go to a gas station that is nearby your house, go to it, but change your habit on how often you go or when you go. And maybe go to a different gas station just occasionally, but randomly. Don't predict it. Don't plan it. Make it unpredictable for yourself too. Have a little spontaneity on it and just go, ooh, I want to try this other way to go home. And I know there's a gas station on the way home. I'll hit that. That's what you do. That changes your predictability and your habits and your patterns, and you do just a subtle shift in your patterns and you become less predictable, not unpredictable. Nobody's unpredictable, especially not with AI. They're going to predict as much as they can and as many models as they want. But take cash out. Use some cash. It's not a conspiracy theory and none of that bullshit. I believe in foundational truths. I believe in what's in front of us and what we're seeing. Um, is pay off things. Is if you can pay down debt, pay it off and then start using cash. If you're considering like huge expenses, see if you can either put them off just a little bit and then pay them in cash, or pay some of it in cash and take less debt. Because in the end, what you're trying to do is don't take out more debt. Because that feeds into the debt economy, which feeds into the slave economy that they're trying to make, and neo-fascism and neo-feudalism. And don't buy crypto. Do not buy crypto in any way, shape, or form. If you have crypto, sell it. Whatever crypto you have, sell it. Yeah, I know. You're hoping Bitcoin went off, or you bought into Dogecoin a long time ago, or whatever the fuck it is, or you own XRP or Elysium or whatever it is, Ethereum. Sell it. Sell it and use cash. I don't buy into the buy heavy metals and gold and things like that. I think that's very much more on the conspiratorial side of like preppers and those folks who think that gold is somehow like a viable value in the long run. Like gold only has value because the economy says it does. Um, and this isn't about prepping and like fighting and becoming scared of things that are going on. This is just about changing your habits a little bit so you can, like I said, minimize your metadata, which if you don't, we probably should have started with what metadata is, because that would have been helpful. Um, is metadata is the incidental pieces that are collected around data for software. So I was a senior DevOps engineer for a startup, and I was a software developer at Amazon. So I have some background. I did over 6 years of software development at this point. I think I'm pretty good at it. And I have a pretty good foundational base on it. Is metadata. And this is important because metadata is something that I collected a lot of and I work to be able to collect. It's all of the metrics. It's all of the things that get passed between or about you. It's things like cookies on the internet. So if a website asks if it can approve to use cookies, restrict that to the minimum. Don't just click approve all. Choose which cookies you want on a website to be shared and used. It will change your internet experience a little bit because cookies are what are the personalization, because personalization is metadata. Metadata are things like, oh, timestamps. When did you go somewhere? How long were you there? Why were you there? What did you buy? When you were there, how many pieces of things did you buy? Or did you stop in like multiple points? But it's a lot about the metrics of how long and where. It's a location and time is really what it is. It's a pinpoint in time on a map that they can trace and use for profiling and predicting. We used it often in software to predict user behavior or plan for user behavior so that we knew when high traffic times were, or so that we knew when we needed to scale the software to be able to use multiple servers or be able to hand a much larger client base. Think of this just like you would um, a piece of software. That's what they want it to be. That's all it is to them is data. It's ones and zeros for now. We're not going to get into quantum computing because that's something we'll talk about eventually. And that adds a two into the equation, and that's where AI will get really scary or really interesting. Um, but yeah, you can do things such as get rid of your crypto. If you have Alexa devices or things like that, if you use them often, because I use mine, I have one in my house. I have a couple in my house. But if you have the ones with the cameras, make sure the camera lens is closed. That way you can never be recorded unless you give it explicit permission because it has a manual lens that can close. I worked on an Alexa team at Amazon. I know what goes into the Alexa devices and how they collect information. Amazon's also very public about it, is at least they had been when I was working there, was Alexa collects 7 seconds of speech as your standard speaking time to include 1 second prior to when you said Alexa, which means it's listening at all times. So if you have one in your house, put it somewhere maybe where it's not collecting all of your information all the time and your personal conversations. So don't have one in your bedroom. I have one in the office, which is fully unplugged. I just unplugged the back of it, but it was already unplugged from the wall. I don't plug it in when I'm working. I never did. I never did when I was at the software company. I only did when I was at Alexa because I know that you can make a home device a work device. It's a hard process to do, and I don't know how to do it. And I couldn't reveal that secret even if I wanted to. Um, but it's just like other things. As you get test kits and test products, and you have to be able to test your software on them, and got to be able to test at home if you don't work in the office. And so Alexa devices are just they're computers. And so if you have one and you're not using it, turn it off, unplug it. Don't just stop using it. Just if you have one and you don't use it, unplug with it. Unplug it. If you have Bluetooth devices in your house that are doing interconnected work in your home, like you have a smart house. Say you have a smart lock on your front door, a smart refrigerator, a smart TV, and they're all connected. Just as an example, make a private network on your uh, for your internet that only those two pieces of software are connected to, and you'll have to reconnect them onto basically a guest network, but with a very strong password. You you can use that to provide a stopping point for them to be able to get into your internal stuff. So, like a lot of people uh, that I know have internal, like house databases or home databases where they keep movies and pictures, and think of it as a vault. They have an internal software vault at home. Most of us have external hard drives at home that we put things on so that they're not on the internet, or we can keep them and come back to them at a later date. It's our filing cabinets of the 21st century. Um, are these uh, disk drives and storage devices? If you have those where you have personal things on them, do not connect them to the network that has your smart devices on it. No, I'm not talking about your phone because um, that's a really hard one to do. You ask Dylan, you ask, can you reverse camera and speech Siri? Can you do, could you try asking? I don't understand what you're asking in that question. Can you ask that one again for me, Dylan? Because I really want to answer that because I think I know what you're asking, but I don't want to answer the wrong question for you. Um, if you have things like just like the Alexa devices, the Google Homes, the Apple Home Kits, things like that, do the same thing. Um, make them so uh, make them so you aren't having a big impact at all times. Um, it minimizes, or sorry, minimizing your metadata. And then the next step, we'll get into maximizing your impact. Oh, Shane wasn't able to make it. I think either I scheduled it too early, um, or he wasn't able to make it, but it's okay. Because I can talk for an hour. I like to talk. And I've got a lot to say on this. So, um, this is normally just Shane and me. Morgan, that's why I'm solo today. Um, is We'll get really into maybe next week on how you can maximize your impacts. But one of the big things you can do to maximize your impact, other than just minimizing your metadata, we had Lawrence on earlier with Kasim and me on the Kasim and me, sorry, on the Sick of This show. And Lawrence is okay. Um, and so a simple way to maximize your impact in all of this too, and it's a message I like to talk about, um, is get engaged locally. Is get it hyper engaged locally because that's where we're really going to stop fascism. Because democracy is a community effort and is a team sport, and Team America needs your help. Team America is suffering from having the delisters run the field. And maximizing your impact right now is getting hyper engaged locally. Is go to the site, runforsomething.net, and I'll put it in the chat too. And then I'll make sure it's included in the follow up to this cast on the video as a link, is runforsomething.net. It allows you to register to show interest in running for a local or state race. It is not federal congressional races. This is not for federal congressional. I'm not encouraging that right now for most people. I am encouraging they're actually closer to the O listers, the orange listers, or the T, the testicle lickers, because that's more what they are. They're giant taints. Morgan, I'm here for you. Gotta throw some eagle jizz in there for y'all. Is because that's what it is. Performative patriotism is what we call eagle jizz because it's gross, it's disgusting. It's the delisters, it's the orange mafia gangsters who are trying to take over our country, and the techno fascists. They're the delisters. We don't want them anymore. We're tired of them. They're fucking disgusting. They're gross. They don't care. They don't care about sovereignty or people in general. And so what do we do to maximize our impact? We go to runforsomething.net. We register and we fill out our profile, even if you're not intending to run for an office. I say this because it is super important to get information and make yourself knowledgeable. Knowledge is power. Power together makes progress and change. When we can focus our power and work together, which is what democracy really is, we can make change. To do that, to make that change and make a huge impact, we need as many people to run for offices as possible. Every single office, every single one of them. If you have a Republican in your seat for a city council, for town hall, or whatever, city council, for school board, for anything, if it starts with an R in front of their name and they are not advocating for human sanctity and sovereignty and human rights and dignity, run. Or encourage your friends to run who have always said, I want to run for something. Now is the time to go, hey, you should run for something. Tell them they should. Go tell your friends and your family who have ever said to you, I want to run for something because I want to do something good for this country. Now's the time to go, I'll support the shit out of you. Now's the time to tell them, I'll phone bank for you. I'll send posts. I'll do the postcards with you. I'll volunteer for you. I'll go knock on doors with you if you can. You write postcards to people. You'll send out emails that are personalized and for people. And then you make space for democracy by helping others get there. So when it is time to actually go vote, and after all of that outreach you have done, make sure you also have people and you have plans for people to be able to have babysitters if they need to go to events and they can't bring their kids or they don't want to bring their kids. Or if you have your kids, bring them to events, bring them to rallies, bring them to protests, bring them to safe places and show them how it is you are interacting with democracy. Bring them to the school board with you when you go to a school board meeting. And if you hear something that doesn't sound right and is wrong and is hurtful to children, and you have a Mom for Liberty backed person on your school board, go to that school board with your kid and speak up and say something and do it in front of your kids. Say it in front of your children, because then you better fucking mean it, because they're going to hold you to it. Kids hold you to everything. Your children will hold you to everything. It's the reason we wear seatbelts these days. It's because kids shamed their parents into wearing seatbelts. Bring your children to civic based events like school board meetings or town hall meetings or city council meetings or city planning meetings. Go ask and interact with the mayor. Go find who your park commissioner is. Go meet your sheriff. Go figure out who all of these elected officials are and what they're doing. And if they hold a public place for you to be able to them, go speak to them. Okay, y'all. I have to drop. This has been incredible. Sorry, I got to drop early, but my doctor is calling. And I will see y'all later. This has been Nick, Palantalk, and I hope to see you again.